About Princes and Princesses. By Anatoly Protopopov. Such exclusively important for all animate world process as reproduction could not be left without the control of the instincts. Correspondingly, love, as the strongest feeling, is a voice of the same primeval instinct that forces to prefer the best being of another sex for mating. And what are the criteria of this preference? It is unnecessary to prove that these criteria are kept unchanged since primeval herd times when all the instincts were formed. It is possible to say that during its formation the instincts took a photo of the situation existed at that moment and keep verifying with this picture for as long as the species exist. Thus, the instincts allow choosing a perfect partner from the primeval point of view. The simplest and the most demonstrative attribute of such superiority in primeval hierarchy is a high rank. Though it is very obvious that rank, strictly speaking, is more a visually superficial indicator of preference, but it is almost impossible to imagine anything better in unwise nature. External attractiveness, beauty, is less reliable in this sense. In general, the number of copulations is the simplest and clearest quantitative index of a male's rank in hierarchy. For females this correlation is very weak and, perhaps, inverse. It is customary to think that alpha simply takes away a female from beta, gamma, just as food. However, the rules of behavior in a hierarchy are obeyed by all the members of a group including females. That means there is not needed to take female away in most cases. She herself, complying with an internal instinctive program, prefers high-ranking male. Not in vain, speaking about ideal groom, women mention word prince. Real prince is not a plebeian job and usually he is a real candidate to become king. Sure, it is not the only tendency. For instance, there is an instinct of fresh blood preference manifesting itself as sexual curiosity. The goal of this instinct is a counteraction to mating with close relatives unavoidable in isolated groups. According to it, under other equal conditions the preference can be given to a new and unusual partner desirably from outside of the group. The instinct is clearly seen in males' behavior, since it conforms well to the principle of unlimited sexual expansion. In females' behavior it is seen with some limitations. These limitations mandatorily include ranking potential of a guest that should be not lower than certain minimum. And of course, these tendencies are combined with individual tastes and sympathies. It is important to emphasize that the high rank of a male does not give a guarantee of access to the certain female, but it is a weighty factor raising probability of this event. A correlational factor between sexual attractiveness of male and his rank is different among the species, and substantially nonlinear. Males of the first several ranks of hierarchy can be almost indistinguishable by their sexual attractiveness for females. Therefore dominant males must fend away subdominant males from females. However, beginning approximately from the middle of hierarchy and below, sexual attractiveness of males decreases so much that dominant can afford not to worry. It is highly probable that such male will not be admitted by females themselves. Now for illustration, an old but very demonstrative anecdote for our topic. Once Cornet Obolensky asked Captain Rzhevsky, "Captain, sir, would you share your experience in seducing women so quickly? But what's there to explain? Come up to a lady and ask, 'Ma'am, may I stick it in?' But Captain, that's a sure way to be slapped in the face for such rudeness." Well, there could be a slap in the face. But nonetheless, I somehow still managed to stick it in. And now let's imagine that Cornet followed the captain's example. You are absolutely right. He will get slapped in his face. However, it does not follow from the text that Cornet is less attractive than captain, and moreover, he is obviously more civilized and decent. Also let's imagine that captain expressed his proposition in over-sophisticated and delicate phrases. Will he get a rejection? Of course not, but even more possible consent. But what if Cornet will propose in the same refined language? In this case he might not get slapped in his face immediately, but the final result probably will be the same, though for some time he will be kept on a short string and jerked around. and he will be ridiculed. That is. Actually, it does not have any serious significance for a woman how a man expresses his desire, but it is extremely important for her who does it. If a man has a high rank, captain, then women will forgive him almost any behavior and almost any weaknesses. If he has a low rank, cornet, then even complete impeccability will not help him. Moreover, captain really does not see any problems with this. Neither he has them personally, nor he even suspects that the other men might have them. Because he does not assert any efforts to conquering women. Moreover, women themselves often put up certain efforts to win him, and he sincerely thinks that women treat all other men the same. But who of these two will be a better husband, faithful, decent, hard-working? Anyone but the captain. But whom will women want to marry the most? You are right, the captain. And in addition to this, in original movie Hussar Ballad, the Captain Rejevsky was an open and convinced opponent of Hymen. It is said that women love masters. This is true, but it is only individual case. Even possession of strong elbows, that is, the ability and readiness to fight for one's own interests, is an individual case in conjugal relationships. Love, as a call of instinct, cannot contemplate, and that's why it is often triggered on visual rank rather than on actual one. It happens that captain looks like pitiful whiner crying that he is so perfect and superior, but the ungifted people around do not appreciate him, or like capricious child with child women egoistic character, and all people tiptoe around eagering to please him in every possible way. The main thing is that he is sincerely sure in his own superiority. It is obvious that such whiner and moaner is not the worthiest family continuer, even from primeval point of view, and the actual rank of these people as an indicator of their ability to succeed in life is very low. However, instinct formally reacts to the above-mentioned assurance, which is the main signaling attribute of a high rank. Since instinct does not bother itself with explanations and mind does not usually recognize such self-assurance as a merit, so everybody feels hymned in poems and in prose, a mystical and enigmatical sensation of love choice, because it is wanted against common sense and it is unclear what for. Whom do men love? A princess is not necessarily required. Men's instinctive criteria of preference are simpler and radically different from women's ones. The main woman's qualities attracting men are the newness, availability, and physical perfection. Of course, if all these qualities are combined in one woman, then her attractiveness will be the highest, and such woman will be the center of men's attention in the first place, but only until either gaining access to her body or making sure of no chances to get it. However, this is correct only in respect of women as sexual partners. Men choose wives by rational judgment, only those who have choice and enough brain. The sensational criteria of men's preference of women are much fuzzier due to the higher diversity of men, and hence, their tastes, and less desperate necessity to make a choice. A male does not have to choose a female since he needs them all without any distinction. But women's rank, having big importance in relations between women, is relatively less important for a man. For sure, high-ranking women can turn men's heads more quickly, but modest and shy low-ranking wives were valued at all times. It is well known that women much more often than men fall in love with their chiefs, bosses, tutors, and etc., whose high visual rank is manifested by their position and partially age. If high rank is a key to women's hearts for a man ensuring his freedom of choice, but for a woman her high rank is a source of problems with men. Average-ranking men are not acceptable for her neither sexually nor platonically, not to mention low-ranking ones, but high-ranking men are very scarce and most of them are easy riders. And if they are not easy riders, then they are hopelessly engaged and not free. Low-ranking woman, as every woman preferring alpha is still open-minded toward omega. In some circumstances she can forgive a man his low rank and therefore his other strengths get the chance to be appreciated.